Okay, fourth time is the charm. So I chose option 1. The novel was Bingo Love, the film was Tangerine, and the music was I Want to Break Free. So first, I'm going to go over the novel Bingo Love. So this is a love story about two women named Mari and Hazel, and they met at bingo after church because their grandmothers would take them. And the first time Hazel saw Mari, she knew that she was in love. So they became friends and they were inseparable. And then a few years later, Hazel confessed her love to Mari, and Mari confessed her love for Hazel. And so they wanted to be together, but Mari's grandmother found out that they liked each other in that way. And at that time, in the 1960s, that was not something that could happen. You were very stigmatized, and homophobia was very rampant at the time. So they were forced not to be together. They were forced not to be friends anymore, and Mari and her grandmother moved away. So after that, Mari and Hazel got married, 2 men, and had children, and their children were starting to have grandkids. And then within that time, about 50 years had passed since they had seen each other, and they happened to see each other again at bingo. And once they saw each other, they kissed. And from then on, they were together, and they were able to divorce their husbands and be together finally and live as openly gay people. The year was about 2015. So it was more widely accepted, and they were together until their deaths. Okay. And then the film Tangerine was a story about Cindy, who just got out of prison, and her best friend Alexandria telling her that her boyfriend cheated on her. So the whole movie is about Cindy trying to find the woman that slept with her boyfriend. And Alexandria and Cindy are both transgender women, so they both have penises. And so when they say, oh, he slept with a real fish, like, that means, like, vagina. So there's that. So the whole time Cindy's trying to find her, and Alexandria is watching over the whole time because she knows that Cindy is known for doing something that will get her in prison. Hence, she just got out. And while this is happening, Alexandria is promoting her performing at Hamburger Mary's in Los Angeles. And she gives out, throughout the whole movie, she's giving out flyers to everyone. And when that eventually happens, the only people who show up is Cindy, and Cindy brought the girl that her boyfriend slept with. There's also the subplot of this taxi driver who likes to have sex with transgender women, and Alexandria and Cindy are both sex workers in LA, and he really likes Cindy and Alexandria. So after Alexandria performs and they're in the club and they leave already because no one showed up, she had to pay to sing, which was very devastating for her that all the people she invited didn't show up. But after they left, the taxi driver showed up and he wasn't there, so he drove around town to find them. And eventually, Cindy finds out that Alexandria also slept with her boyfriend, and the taxi driver's family found out that he sleeps with transgender women prostitutes. It's a whole story. Okay, so there was that. I really liked that film. And then lastly, the music portion, I Want to Break Free. I had to kind of pull from the lyrics, so Fallen in Love for the First Time. He says that it's the first time he's fallen in love, and it feels like it's real love. And he also brings up the fact that he wants to be sure that it's real before he walks out that door. And I interpreted as walk out the door as before he comes out as gay or bisexual. And then he goes on to talk about how he's living without the person that he loves because he knows he's not going to be accepted. And then also saying that God knows that he wants to be himself, but he doesn't want to be stigmatized for that. So next we're going to talk about the breakdown of each one. So the novel and the music, the things that those two had in common, they were wanting acceptance for being gay or lesbian. Because of the times they were in, it was frowned upon. And then they were also, the connection was wanting to be public about their love. Same thing. It was taboo. People were very homophobic. So they were wanting to be public, but they chose not to or couldn't. And then fell in love for the first time with the opposite sex. So Hazel had brought up that she was only really in love with Mari. Even though she did love her husband, it wasn't the same type of love. And then Freddie Mercury brings up, or the band Queen, in this song brings up that he's fallen in love for the first time, like symbolizing that his first time falling in love is with the person of the same sex. I wrote opposite, but I meant same. Okay. And then the comparison between the novel and the film, some of the similarities were that there was queerness, people of the LGBTQ community. So in Bingo Love, it was a story about lesbians, and in Tangerine, it was a story of, technically you could say a heterosexual relationship, but it was with a transgender woman and a cis man. And then I would say homophobia is also a theme that you can see in both, because in Tangerine, Cindy, when she was trying to get some work from this car, they threw piss on her and called her slurs because she was transgender. And then the homophobia in the novel was when when Mari's grandma saw them kissing and did not let that go any further and didn't let them talk to each other. And then one of the last comparisons is the music, I Want to Break Free, in the film Tangerine. Singing, I wrote singing because, I Want to Break Free is a song, and Alexandria sang at Hamburger Mary's to try, she just wanted to be on stage, so there was singing in it, and she was promoting her show throughout, so I thought the music was a similarity. And then living without the person they love, I connected that because Cindy was in prison. I believe it was for a month, and she couldn't be with her boyfriend. So she was living without her boyfriend, her love. And then in the song, Freddie talks about how he can't be with the person he loves, and that he is living without the person he loves. And then I also connected wanting to break free. And I said this because the taxi driver, he secretly was hiding the fact that he was getting transgender prostitutes. He was living a lie, but he he had to hide it. But he wants to break free. He chose to show it to Alexandria's show, even though that meant he was in a queer space. So those were my connections for the two, each of them. And then, so the middle, which brings in everything, all the themes of all the novel, the film, the music. So I just said the LGBTQ plus community in each story. There was some kind of LGBTQ community element. In Bingo Love was the lesbian relationship. In Tangerine, it was the transgender aspect of the LGBTQ. And then in I Want to Break Free is the gay aspect of falling in love with a man. And then people of color, they were all people of color in all of these things. The novel, they were two black women that fell in love. In Tangerine, they were two black women. And then in I Want to Break Free, Freddie Mercury, I found out, is Parsi Indian. So they were all love stories about people that aren't white. And then the third thing I said that ties them all together is the fact of them being in love. Cindy from Tangerine is in love with her boyfriend, the pimp. And in I Want to Break Free, Freddie is in love with a man. Doesn't specify who, but yeah. And then in Bingo Love, it's Mari and Hazel that are in love with each other. So this is my breakdown of Bingo Love, Tangerine, and I Want to Break Free. Thank you so much for listening.